George Kirby's going to get the start today for the Mariners in a three-game set opener against the Orioles at home, which is immediately followed by a three-game set against Toronto after they play Houston for three. So, interestingly, we actually need Toronto to both win and lose at the same time, because we would like Toronto to maybe think about trading Bo Bichette or Vlad Guerrero Jr., or really just anybody, plus the wild card could be interesting. But we'd also like Houston to lose so we can increase our division lead. At the beginning of the season, everybody thought it was going to be a two-team race between the Mariners and the Rangers, but it looks like it's going to be a two-team race between the Mariners and the Astros through about 86 games for everybody. The season's halfway over. It's about to be July. I did not realize how quickly a baseball season goes. I've watched baseball before, like, but I've never like paid attention to the game number and everything. I've always been like, oh, it's July, it's August, it's June. Usually after the All Star break, like August, to be like, oh, it's late. The trade deadline's over. But now I'm like, oh, it's late. So unfortunately, all the people saying things like, oh, it's early. Our hitters are gonna progress to the mean. I don't know if that's actually going to happen because unfortunately they haven't yet, and this just might be what we have for the team this year. Is just a bunch of people who all together hit 218, and the designated hitter who hits 197. Mitch Garver had negative X-rays, but it's very likely that if he plays today, he'll be the designated hitter. But I could also see Scott giving him a couple of days off. We do have a day game on Thursday, yeah, Thursday. So if we play Mitch Garver again at catcher, it'll be Thursday. If we need to make a move at catcher, it'll be Thursday. It'll be either Thursday or Sunday, simply due to the fact that those would be the day games, and Cal would play the other games because Cal just plays so much. Scott might do something to change the designated hitter. I could see us actually bringing up Tyler Locklear again to the major league roster to play as DH, and moving somebody else down, moving Mitch over to the IL for 10 or 15 days, 20 days, who knows how long, moving Mitch to the IL for 10 days and bringing up maybe Sebi Zavala. But it is a disaster right now for the Mariners. We have a great farm system, like an absolutely wonderful farm system, like one of the best in Major League Baseball. But the problem with a great farm system is you don't know how they'll do in the majors. You really don't. You'll never know how they'll do in the majors until they show up in the majors. Like we need to reload on starting pitching, yes, because most of our starting pitchers that we've developed are up. Brian Woo's out for 15 days. He's going to miss at least 3 starts, including the one that was scheduled on Sunday. So he will not be starting against Toronto. We'll probably have Jonathan Diaz or Emerson Hancock make that start, depending on who's. Because remember, Emerson Hancock left his last start. We are not in a good spot. Vision for 40, 50 days. And yet, like, we are not in a good spot at all. If we win tonight, we'll still be leading the division. If we lose, it'll get close. It'll get close. The division lead could be gone as early as Thursday if we get swept by the Orioles. Um, George Kirby throws a lot of strikes. The Orioles have really good hitters, like really, really good hitters. Some of the best hitters I've ever seen. Every time I sit down and watch an Orioles, I've watched a couple of Orioles games in addition to the 4 we've already played against them, and they have a good team. Like, I'd be excited if I were an Orioles fan, other than the fact that they're in the same division as the Yankees, which makes things a little bit more complicated. So it's going to be a problem if George Kirby's strikes are hit for power, especially if they're hit for power. But if they have a lot of contact, bat to ball, and get hits down, because our defense hasn't been great lately either. We've had a lot of errors, including some things that should have been errors that weren't, like JP to Rojas the other day. That should have been an E6, but they just didn't mark it as an E6 or an E5. They just marked it as I don't know. It should have been an E5 because Josh wasn't there to catch it, but he didn't touch the ball, so you can't give somebody who didn't touch the ball an error. So that's the thing. But that was bad defense. Yes, I know we were shifted, but he should have moved to cover second instead of third because he could have got the force there. And the force is way more important than preventing a run because I think we had 2 outs, and that would have been the third, so it prevents the run anyway. It's a mess for the Mariners. No moves have been made. but our minor league teams have been doing well. The Modesto Nuts got a playoff spot, which is awesome. Always love when our minor league affiliates get playoff spots. I'm going to head out to a minor league baseball game at some point in a few weeks. Not a Mariners minor league game because I'm not on the Pacific Coast. I'd love to go to a Rainiers game and a Mariners game, but that's probably not happening this year, simply because I don't have the time. I just don't have the time to go. But the problem with having a really good farm system while your MLB team is doing what our MLB team is doing, the farm system isn't the MLB team, and you can be really excited for the future while wondering, how do we have a batting average of 218? 218. 0.218, which is ridiculous. Because when you have that much of a low of a batting average, you're not going to do well at all. You're gonna just be not winning games. We've won a lot of one-score games. I think somebody said if the result of every one-score game were flipped, Houston would have a 12 and a half game lead on us. And that was as of like yesterday, which is a lot. Yeah, yeah, it's a mess. But I think the Mariners are going to be able to do it. I think the Mariners are going to be able to pull off winning the division. It might get tight down the stretch, but it's going to be based mostly on winning the games in the division and the games that we can control. So it's going to be based on beating Houston, beating Texas. Yeah, we have to beat the Angels and the Athletics. And then it's also going to be based on the teams that we need to beat. Which, when I look at the schedule, yeah, okay, 1-2 against Boston, that's fine. 2-1 against Toronto was basically what I expect. We have 2 against San Diego next week. Love to win both of those. That's the best. Then we got 1, 2, 3, 4 against the Angels going into the All-Star break. You want to take all 4 of those. Take the All-Star break. You got Houston at home for 3, and then the Angels at home for 3, and then the White Sox on the road for 3. You should win those. Then you got Boston on the road for 3. That's one that I don't think we'll win. Then you got the Phillies. Probably not going to win that series. Detroit and the Mets probably go 4-2 over that series. Then Detroit and the Pirates on the road. Depends on if we meet teams or not, but I could see us winning 4 of those. Then the Dodgers. That's not a game you expect. A series you expect to take 3 out of. Maybe expect to get 1, just because sweeping people is hard. Then the Angels again. The Angels and the Athletics. Then the Cardinals on a 10-game road trip. I expect 7 wins there. Then we got the Padres, the Rangers, then the Yankees. I expect us to beat the Padres, beat the Rangers, and maybe go 1-2 against the Yankees at home. Then to close out the season, we got Texas, Houston, Oakland. 3 at Texas, 3 at Houston, 3 versus Oakland. So we're actually starting and ending the season at home, which is rather interesting. You usually don't get to do that. You really don't usually get to do that. But that's the thing. If we win, we have a really easy remaining schedule. So as long as we keep ourselves there, we're good. We're good as long as we keep winning the games we're supposed to win. But unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't seem like we're going to do that. So with a 218 batting average, you might not. Yeah, we have great pitching. I think our ERA plus is the best in the league, and our ERA was the best in the league at one point. Our FIP is pretty good. We give up a lot of home runs because of pitching, and T-Mobile Park helps with that, with the marine layer and everything. But if you just beat the teams you're supposed to and take a game or 2 from the teams that are better than you, like the Yankees, Orioles, and the Dodgers, you're going to win the division. That's what's going to happen. So I'm still confident the Mariners can win the division, but we need to make a move.